Yeah, hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the solution of problem D, Codeforces Round 832. Yeah, so an array is given and like an array is given and there are q queries. The queries are in the form of L to R, where Li and Ri are indices. We need to find the minimum number of operations such that the interval L to R becomes 0. The operations are like choose any integer L and R within within the given query interval, and such that the length of the chosen LR interval is odd, and replace each element with in the subarray with XOR of elements of the selected interval. Like we need to find the minimum number of operations to make a complete the query subarray as odd or 0. Uh, so hmm, yeah. If it is not possible, then just print -1. I'll directly explain it with the code side by side. Yeah. So first, what I have done is array. I have taken the input one based indexing. BRR is the some BRR is the some this thing some prefix, and then yeah, I have taken the input and this is prefix sum I have just used, prefix sum I have calculated, and XOR is the array which contains XOR prefix XOR. Okay, so prefix XOR of the array one based indexing, and I have taken a pair odd even. Okay, let me explain the observation. So how to suppose this is an array and this is the interval which is given as a query. We need to suppose like we need to find the minimum number of operations, right? So if we think greedily, like think just an observation, what we can think is if the whole length the length of the array is the length of the interval is odd, and XOR of all the numbers in this is 0, then it can be performed within one operation. And suppose if the length of the otherwise it can't be performed. I will tell why. Suppose if the length of the array is even, interval is even, then we need to divide this in such a way that the sub intervals in which we perform operations becomes XOR 0. So suppose if we take this till here, and this interval's length should be of parity of odd length. So yeah, if so, this should be 0. This should be 0, and it can be observed that the number of operations cannot exceed 2. I will tell why. Suppose let's come with the odd length first. Odd length we got to know. Along with the code, I'll explain. Suppose I'll explain this part afterwards. So this is the length which I have taken. If length is 0, I'll explain this also afterwards. So suppose hmm, if all the elements in the array are by default like initially 0 itself, then the number of operations is 0. If the length of the interval is odd, then if the intervals are this is prefix or, so intervals or will be calculated like this. I mean, intervals are like XOR of these two number like L minus 1, XOR of L minus 1 and R is 0, then it will be same as both are same. So yeah, if both are same in the sense the intervals are is 0, then yeah, within one operation we can do it. Else there doesn't exist like a way to do any operation on odd length such that after some operations the whole interval becomes 0. Why? Why? Because suppose this is the interval. Suppose suppose there is an interval, okay, suppose this is an interval which has XOR 0 and this complete is odd length. Now, if this is this has XOR 0, then this should also have zor as 0. But if you take this as even length, odd length, then odd minus odd becomes even. 5 minus 3 is 2, even. So you are left with the even sized interval afterwards, which you can further divide again in odd size. But at the end, you will be left with one even interval, which you can't perform operation, as they are asking interval should be of odd length. So yes, uh, yes, okay. So yeah, that's why it's not if they are not same, then just return print -1. Next, what if the length is even? Now, if the length is even, we can there can be a way such that we can divide it in one in sub interval with odd length, if and other sub interval, other remaining sub interval, which also has zor 0. Why both should have zor 0, zor as 0 is, suppose like suppose before that, the observation is the complete interval should have zor as 0, but we can't do this is in one operation because the length should be of odd length. So we need to find zor as 0 with the odd interval for one, at least one sub interval, first sub interval. So after getting that odd interval, after getting that odd interval, if you remove the even length with odd, you are left with odd. So so this length is also odd, whatever may be this. So because complete XOR is 0 and this XOR is 0, uh, this XOR also should be 0. Understood? I mean, yeah. So XOR 0 plus 0 XOR 0 is 0. So what I did is here I wanted, suppose I'm having left interval as index as even, then I wanted some index after L such that it is also even and is greater than L. So what I did is and also has and also that interval between that sub interval has ZOR as 0. So what I did is if the index is odd, I'm inserting it is in the odd set. If the index is even, I'm inserting it in the even set with the prefix ZOR along with it. So I wanted a prefix ZOR in a sorted order so that, as I know, one, so I know ZOR, like uh, suppose if interval r to L as ZOR is 0, then this should be satisfied. Okay. So to satisfy this, this should be equal to this. So I am querying for L minus XR of L minus 1 such that lower bound of that should be equal to XR of L minus 1, where I have checked it here. So PR lower bound, in the sense PR dot first is the XOR which we get with the lower bound. I'm checking if it is XR dot 1. If it is equal, then if it is equal, and it's and I'm also checking that whole XOR is 0, like whole interval, like small as Li to Ri query interval is matching in the sense the same number XORs to 0. So the number of operations is 2, else there doesn't exist any like way to do that. So suppose and this condition is this case is, suppose we did the lower bound didn't get any valid this thing index value, then we just make -1, print -1. Similarly with the, if L is even, we do this. And why I did this is, where is it? Yeah, this thing. Suppose the interval is even and it is ending or starting with 0. Ending or starting. Suppose this is 3, some 3, 5. Then I can remove that 0 from the interval, and I can pick this interval so that the length is becomes odd, and I can do the in within one operation I can make all this entire interval as 0. So if length is 0, if the length is even, and if either right is like right part, the rightmost element is number is 0, then decrease the r and decrease the length, else similarly with the left part, so that this executes, and we can get answer like 1 instead of 2. Yeah, that was it, where I'm printing. Yeah, that's it.